Now let's start the process of stylizing each one of these boxes. Let's begin with the Passion box. So I'll inspect an element inside of that box, and here's our section. So the first thing is that this section has a certain width. Let's go to our mockup and take a look at it. I'll zoom in and I'll measure it using the marquee tool. And so it will have a width of about 223 pixels. Okay, so let's play with this in the browser. I'm going to set the width to 223 pixels. And if we look at the mockup, these are all going to have the same height as well. Now, setting a height on an element is kind of dangerous because if the text changes or the text changes sizes, then we may need more space here. But in this case, I believe that the height of these boxes is more important than displaying that content. More practically speaking, what this means is that we'll probably adjust the content to fit a consistently sized box. So what I'm going to do is measure the size of the gray box part. Even though right now our icon is within it, we'll see if we can try to bump it up using our current markup. So the height of this element is going to be the same as the width. So it looks like it's an actual box. So I'll jump back to our browser here, and I'm going to set the height here to 223 pixels as well. Okay, so if we drew a border around our box here, I'll add one in our styles, border 1 pixel solid black. So this is so we can see the edge. We'll see that our text is cascading out of this element. And the reason it's doing that is because this icon here needs to get bumped up in order to create more space below it. Now, there are a number of different ways that we could approach getting these things in line to match what it looks like in our mockup. We could try playing with some negative margin. So if we highlighted this element and we set some negative margin on it to bump it up, we could do margin top, maybe set it to negative 50 pixels. That bumps it up quite nicely, but it's not quite exactly centered in there. And if we tried to increase this number, we'd see that no matter how much margin we gave it, it would max out at about right here. So this is close, but it's not quite exactly what we're looking for. So I'll remove that margin here. And now another thing we can do is bring this element out of the flow of this box by giving it an absolute position. So we can go position absolute, and now it's overlapping the content and we can position it independently. So at this point, we could do a margin top and set it to maybe negative 60 pixels. And then we could set the margin of the left to 50 pixels. Doesn't quite look centered, let's try 60. Okay, so that's about where we'd want it. So this is definitely one approach that we can take, but it will only work if our box here is always going to be the same size. So we kind of have to decide, if we look at the mockup, what the behavior is going to be of these boxes as the browser gets smaller. Is it always going to be this fixed width and height, or are they sometimes going to expand to fill the space between them? That's a good question, and it's something that we'd have to address in order to know what our CSS should be. If we use this strategy that we're using here in order to position this icon using pixels, then if this box got bigger because we wanted to allow it to stretch across it all, the position of this icon would no longer be centered. Now, the front-end developer in me is a little bothered with using this solution, mostly the margin left part, because I feel like it would be nice to be able to change the width of these if we wanted to. But let's stick with this solution for now. It's nice and simple, and we can see as we move a little further in the conversion process if there's a point at which we would like these boxes to be different sizes, variable based on the size of the browser.